Welcome to Event VODs. Watch the highlights of today's First Stand 2025 matchup.
KC are still putting their trust in him because Yike, 3 out of 4 games, his impact to this.
Past the test of time as Junji coming actually over the wall from the Dragon. That's a great engage from Kaiwing as Targamas completely off to the side. And now Kalist trying to play some alcove gaming, and unfortunately it is not where he wants to be. Doggo with first will skewer you.
Skewer is a great
more like
word.
a javelin.
Harpoon,
yes,
even.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was true damage, and it did hurt.
And on release, it did about a bajillion damage. And so if you were the kind of player that would want to go into the middle of a team fight, press all of your buttons and die, she was the best champion ever, which is why I loved her. She was brilliant. We're talking about a champion that's not in the game, though. She was at least banned throughout both of these. We might get her in a game 3 if we make it there. KC looking to try and deliver us
an
towards
objective
it.
already, a positive in comparison to game 1.
Precisely. Put their focus towards the Dragon that hasn't been taken just yet. As Kaiwing going to go for another engage. There's the Glacial Prison. Targamas going to have to flash. Does get the anchor out as Doggo picks it up with a double up. That is gorgeous. Kalist going to be able to walk out of the way of the bullet time.
He's a bit behind. He is close to level 9, though. Here we go.
Yeah, Winter's Wrath.
You can't contest this, Ginger. I don't think you can contest this.
Well, he is walking around. Somewhat in range, actually, but it's going to be Yike that wins the Smite War. Hook going to connect, but Targamas is sort of just 1v1ing against Doggo. Junja right in amongst it now. Is Vladdy trying to get out of there. The flash forward from Junja is crazy, and Targamas finds himself caught out. That's a killing spree for side, getting something back for KC. As the flash forward from Honkyu, this young man going nuts against Yike, who's taken so much damage. The threaded volley will finish him off.
The support from Driver. And we're back into the action.
We are right back into it as the Grubs now going to be the focus here. KC already with 3 under their belt as Driver going to get booped back here by Canna. Should be 4 of them locked down here as Yike should be able to collect them. There we go. That is Grub number 1. CFO still haven't pulled the trigger just yet though. Doggo securing 1 of them, so it's maximum 5. And that is going to be what happens. Chains of Corruption come through, but Kaiwing turns it into engage as Driver gets a phenomenal crash, does immediately go down, and it's a double here for Yike. Junja says no, remember, we're the team that gets all of the kills as Targamas going to be the first one to be taken down. He also looks for the next as Canna's put in prison. But not going to quite be enough. The Winter's Wrath unable to catch him in Doggo. I don't know whether you want to tank.
There is a scary front line that they have to deal with, but they have the damage in theory to deal with it.
Well, Weaver's Wall coming on through here is now Yike. He is cornered, and everything is about zoning. They knew that he was just dead to rights. And so CFO, they take down the jungler, and they now look for a Dragon. That should be going their way, unless these health bars are low enough to cause a bit of an issue. But it looks like that isn't the case. Vladdy there towards the top side, doing some split pushing as Junja at about 50%. Dueling this Chemtech Drake. Driver going to move on over is now Kalist. You're not going to be able to interrupt that ulti there as Junja gets over the wall. Flashes back immediately as he realizes his mistake, and he will be ripped to shreds by that piercing arrow. CFO maybe bit off a little more they could chew that time around.
The Dragon getting very low. Yike on his way back, but there's no smites here.
Yeah, they do just interrupt the queue as Driver was pretty optimistic, thinking that his Scion was going to be the deciding factor there.
Ambitiously drive. Oh, back in the action.
Yeah, crash down there from Kaiwing. Going the wrong direction, though, as Kana might be the one that they're looking for. His health bar is relatively high, but unfortunately he can't move and he has no friends. That's Honkyu taking another kill for himself. 2-0-2 now for the Talib.
Throughout this series, you can't afford to rest on your laurels. The moment that you're out of position, this team will punish you for it.
Well, Driver going to come on over and get rid of all of these minions. I don't know about that one. Trains off the tracks a little bit here as Vladdy going to get rid of this turret and now go for the 1v1 that may take 7 years, but I think he might have the damage eventually unless Driver just gets towards the turret. Doesn't have the unstoppable onslaught though, as he does get that knock up. And Honkyu, he gets in there, looking for that threaded volley as Junja just sets it up for him. Man, what an alley-oop from the jump forward once again. We're getting that zoom in. Here comes the train. Chains of Corruption are going to go wide as Kalist gets that flash to get over the wall. The Glacial Prison going wide there as well as CFO. Not going to find the engage they were looking for. And you can see Yike doing a lot of damage there to Honkyu, as they do make their way.
Deserves.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Honkyu was a little bit jump scared from that one, but also didn't have the whole squad down there. And so maybe that's just what you do when you're not prepared for that level of engage. But the Dragon is going to be secured here by CFO.
Distributing the resources evenly, which means that they don't have to I mean, they've got vision investment on the top side as well, allowing...
They're holding on to that lead. 5-0-2, though, for the MF. That will do it, as far as giving you that lead. Honku just put his... he just put his Leandres together, so he does a lot of damage, but they look for the Rel, who just says, I'm going to Magnet Storm you, and then even crashes down forward. It was a mistake because he dies, but it's going to be a win here for CFO. That is 3 on the bench for KC. We'll just try and hold them off.
I mean, that collapse was just so fast and so ruthless. Doggo.
It feels like every time. It's like, and the collapse, and like, they're always there.
And Doggo just said, all right, bet. Like, he just threw down the ultimate and tore this opposition apart. That will be our first Ruinous Artican. Of course, not the first one of the tournament, but look at that, all that XP gained as well. Level 15, he does not care.
Oh, right. Nice little stun is going to come through, but another Magnet Storm comes on down, and Doggo immediately flashing away from the ulti. Kalist not going to be connecting that one, and now they are moving forward. The double ups landing, and Doggo, he does so much damage. Honku looking for the seismic shove. Kana going to get that fat flash over the wall. That'll keep him alive. Make It Rain not doing too much there, so KC will be able to limp away, but that could just still mean Baron.
I mean, another failed attempt on the side of KC as CFO just continued to extend their lead. They were already in a commanding position, and this really will look to put the final nail in the coffin. Yesterday, it was a 2-1 victory for TL.
So with this Baron buff, they might be able to break open the base. Vladdy looking to go back home, as it's once again cleanup duty for the Scion.
I mean, if we kind of go back to the start of this game, it was a situation where KC finally got themselves a winning bot lane 2v2, and Jun just shut that down. And then, what does KC want to do? Oh, they want to try and build advantages through their solo laners so they can look to start split pushing. Well, how does CFO respond? They just find fight after fight with constant numbers advantage, and they swing even though they don't get all the early game objectives, they keep winning out on the fights. And now they find themselves securing the first tier 3 tower of the game. They've set their sights on the inhibitor, and what options do KC really have? Because if they try to go for the 5v5, I think that CFO's front to back is just stronger once again.
Yeah, this is the problem with falling behind against a composition that has 2 damage. And the problem is, if this style of composition gets ahead, it is so much harder to find that angle back in. That's why we often say that if you're a team that has a heck of a lot of damage, it's harder to execute because you still have to be very careful.
Oh, yeah.
If you throw your life away, things can really become a problem. It's not really the case here. That's, I think, why you'd say that this is far more of a simple composition. It's not even necessarily that it's simple, it's that it's very forgiving. Because I've heard some pretty big talk about Honku and what he has. Is now Kalist in trouble once again, and just picked off and destroyed. Another gorgeous shove there from Honku, the man we were just talking about. And I think he might have heard us. He says, oh, you mean me? Let me just grab another couple of kills. 4-0-6 now for the Taliyah. They'll take down the last remaining inner turret. They're going to look for another inhibitor. Baron or no Baron, they are going to break another section of this base, and KC just left scratching their heads at this point in the series. It's been a whirlwind, and CFO have just left them in the dust.
CFO have made it look easy. A convincing game too, with very few windows of opportunity. They continue to punish, and it's just the fact that the scoreline for him.
And Vladdy going to be able to stop Doggo, but look at all of these engages as stopped. Vladdy does manage to get a decent ulti and gets himself out of there, but Yike could pay the price. The AoE is going to be there, but when there's no follow-up, it does not matter, and they trickle in one after the other, but CFO stay as a unit to defend their damage dealer. This might be a little bit of an overstep as Honku just goes golden. And Driver is going to do exactly as his name dictates. They take a blast cone. That is going to break up the fight a little bit. And a Weaver's Wall, speaking of breaking things up, actually might be able to create some space here. But CFO, I don't, like, the health bars are low, guys. I understand your confidence.
CFO was trying to go back to base. They were trying to show them a mercy. Kana, at the very least, will get a pick.
Yeah. Shock Blast is going to be able to lock down Honku. Going to die for the first time. Also gets rid of some pages in that book. And now Junji, I don't know about that flash, as... yeah, the train is going to be able to tidy up some of them. Doggo with the bullet time gets flashed out of there by Targamas, as once again over the wall goes Vladdy. And CFO, just go back home. Let's spend some of that. They might be thinking something like that. The Baron is probably going to be the one that goes away first, though. As you can see, not a whole lot of avenues in for this one. As Kana, not going to be able to stop it. So the Purple Worm delivered towards CFO. And now one inhibitor lies between them and the enemy Nexus. As Targamas thinking about going for heroic engage. Junjo able to get out of the way of the Chains of Corruption. That's some buttons on cooldown now. As the Glacial Prison, it'll ring true. Doggo has to cancel his ulti early, but these autos are doing so much. And Honkyu from over the wall finds another flick. Driver, I don't know about that one, but he gets a big old shield. Let's see whether he is going to go down. Does eventually go into that passive, but honestly, it works out just the way CFO wanted. And they're looking at a 2-0 in their debut match here at First Stand. What an incredible performance from this team.
Absolutely incredible. Convincing, coordinated, and well executed from start to finish. CFO looking strong in their first best of 3.
Yep, taking down the Nexus now as Targamas just looks to try and escape. And unfortunately, that is not going to escape the end of this game. Honkyu does the honors. The youngest player of the tournament will be able to grab that 50 gold for taking down the Nexus. A beautiful performance here from this squad.